Good evening, everyone. How's everybody doing? I see we're a shy bunch this evening. I'm Jami Powell, the Sybil Harrington Director and CEO here at Phoenix Art Museum, and it is an absolute pleasure and honor to welcome you this evening for this particular conversation and presentation portion of what's really shaping out to be just a historic evening here at Phoenix Art Museum in celebration of Cara Romero's Living Light exhibition, which opens tonight. So let's give them an applause. It's always sort of heartfelt moments to get to this point, to where you're introducing this moment after so many months and years of work to really see this exhibition to come to fruition. I think it's truly going to become one of those lasting memories here for many at Phoenix Art Museum. So thank you for the privilege of sharing that with us. Also tonight, I just wanted, this is an evening of conversation, community, and the opportunity to experience visual storytelling from an extraordinary contemporary artist. Organized by the Hood Museum of Art at Dartmouth College, Living Light is the first major exhibition devoted solely to Cara Romero's work. Across more than 60 large-scale photographs spanning the past decade, Romero's practice is deeply personal, a form of storytelling that confronts and reframes persistent misrepresentations of Indigenous communities. Her images celebrate the brilliance, diversity, humor, resilience, and sovereignty of Indigenous peoples today. For those of you who are just joining us now, it's also really important to share that this presentation at Phoenix carries a very special meaning, as it brings Cara's work within close proximity to her ancestral homelands as a citizen of the Panûpünüwügai Indian tribe in the Mojave Desert in California. Sharing this exhibition also holds such significance because Phoenix stands on the ancestral and present-day lands of 22 federally recognized tribal nations, as well as many Indigenous communities. Yes, please. As well as many Indigenous communities whose cultures, traditions, and communities continue to shape this region and beyond. Before we begin tonight's program, I would like to truly recognize the privilege of having Governor Stephen Roe Lewis of the Gila River Indian community here with us this evening. It is truly an honor and privilege to have him here with us this evening, and we are deeply grateful for his leadership, steadfast advocacy for his community, and for the example he sets through his commitment to cultural stewardship, sovereignty, and collaboration. His presence means a lot for us, so thank you so much. Yeah. I also want to recognize that we have so many incredible partners here at Phoenix Art Museum, and I'd be remiss without to recognize our colleague down at the Center for Creative Photography, Director Todd Tibitis, who's here with us this evening. Todd, where you sit there. And of course, Dr. Simph and the incredible team down at the CCP at the University of Arizona in Tucson. Yes, please. As a former Tucsonan, I know how important that is, and absolutely. I would also like to recognize and acknowledge, of course, some very special people here with us this evening, and especially our colleagues from the Heard Museum, including David Roche, Dickey Family Director and CEO, Curator Roshai Montano, and of course, fellow members of the museum staff. We are deeply grateful to your generous loan to this exhibition and your ongoing support and collaboration. And I know if David and maybe the team just raise their hands, let's give them a round of applause. It's also very important to say that our shared partnership and our collective commitment to expanding Indigenous representation, scholarship, and opportunity within these museums is both meaningful and essential. For Phoenix and for the broader region, it is vital that we continue to invest in Indigenous artists and communities, recognizing their leadership, creativity, and enduring contributions to the cultural life of this place. By working together, we strengthen not only our institutions, but also our collective responsibility to ensure Indigenous voices are centered, supported, and sustained. We value this collaboration greatly and look forward to sharing new news and future partnerships to continue this work together. So thank you again for your partnership and collaboration. I also, too, just wanted to point out before I introduce, of course, our guests this evening, as well as our incredible colleagues, is that we have this amazing catalog. And if you do not have a copy of this catalog, I know Nick Larson is from Radius Books is here this evening. Please, this is available in the museum store. It is such an incredible extension of this exhibition, of Cara's practice, and really, truly, just the amazing artist that she is and what that journey takes. So please pick up a copy in the museum store. And now it is my pleasure to introduce a colleague whose insight, scholarship, and care were essential to bringing this exhibition to Phoenix Art Museum. Dr. Amelia McSavages is the Norton Family Assistant Curator Photography here at Phoenix Art Museum and the Center for Creative Photography. Emmy coordinated the presentation of Living Light in Phoenix in close collaboration with the team at the Hood Museum of Art, helping to shape how this remarkable exhibition connects to our community and to our audiences here in Arizona and beyond. Emmy's work reflects a deep commitment to photography as a living, evolving form, and to the artists and stories behind the images. She has been a thoughtful partner to Cara and also to Jami and the Hood Museum team, as well as the incredible team in Cara Studio. And we just want to recognize, and let's give a round of applause to all the teams at each institution. As we know, and what a privilege it is to serve in this position and to have the experience of these exhibitions, it really does take so many communities together to really put this exhibition, as well as many of the aspects here at museums. And so we are always fortunate to really recognize the work of the preparators, the installers, the registrars, the curators, everyone here at these institutions to really make this happen. So it's really, truly a privilege to work with all of you. Tonight, Emmy will introduce our featured speakers, as well as help guide us into what promises to be a powerful program about art, storytelling, and Indigenous creativity. And without further ado, please join me in welcoming Emmy McSavages. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy. Good evening, everyone. I'm thrilled to welcome you all here tonight to celebrate the opening of this deeply special exhibition. Let me introduce our speakers. Cara Romero is a contemporary American photographer. An enrolled citizen of the Chemehuevi Indian tribe, Cara was raised between the Chemehuevi Reservation in Mojave Desert, California, and Houston, Texas. She completed her studies at the Institute of American Indian Arts in Santa Fe and at Oklahoma State University. Cara is a regular participant in Native American art fairs, where she has received numerous awards. Her work is in many public and private collections worldwide, including the Amon Carter Museum of American Art, the Center for Creative Photography, Los Angeles County Museum of Art, Museum of Fine Arts Boston, the National Gallery of Art, the Smithsonian National Museum of the American Indian, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and the Whitney Museum of American Art, just to name a few. In 2019, she was featured on PBS's television program Craft in America. Maintaining her studio and gallery in Santa Fe, New Mexico, where she lives with her family, Cara travels between Santa Fe and the Chemehuevi Valley Indian Reservation, where she maintains close ties to her tribal community and ancestral homelands. Dr. Jami Powell is Associate Director for Curatorial Affairs and Curator of Indigenous Art at the Hood Museum of Art at Dartmouth College, where she also serves as a senior lecturer in Native American and Indigenous Studies. Jami is a citizen of the Osage Nation and earned her PhD in anthropology from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. During her tenure at the Hood Museum, she has curated numerous exhibitions of work by historical and living artists. Her edited volume, Re-Envisioning American Art, Transforming Museum Practice, was published by the University of Washington Press in 2025. Jami is on the board of directors of the Terra Foundation for American Art and the Native American Art Studies Association, and has served in advisory roles for numerous museums, arts organizations, and publications. Before we hear from Cara and Jami, please join me in welcoming Cara to the stage to introduce a very special next part of our program.
Emmy, for that lovely introduction, and Jeremy as well. And thank you all for being here. Thank you for coming from very far away. From here in town, it's really an incredible honor showing the art museum. And I'm just incredibly thankful for all of the wonderful. Don't do this by myself. This next part of the program is another great honor for me. Those of you that have had the opportunity to see the show, I hope that you can see it's from a place for my community, for our lived experience, for our individuality, for our diversity, for everything beautiful that we hold in our communities and that our communities have fought that we could share. A lot of the work also comes from the lands from the. I was born in Los Angeles and moved to Mojave Desert in 1970. It's where you learn the smells and the flora and the fauna and the animals and the singing and the language and the basket weaving and waterway, underground water. They're all connected. We have some very special guests that I've known since I was that have come here to sing for all of us, and that are all of the pieces that were. For some of us, it is a moment for us to recharge and the things that keep us going, the things that are some of our most beloved from back home. And for some of you, this will be experience. They're my brother's daughters. Such an honor. And please join us. Thank you so much.
Mike was Nuwu, Hayat Tawai, Nuk John Smith Niega, Nuk Turanu, Campo Caniga, Nuni Campo Watts, Umik Kamanu from Torres Martinez, and Umik Nu, and Umik Payum Kawicham from Temecula, and Umik Kaibagumpi Watts from Paula. And so it's an honor for us to be here and support our sister from Siwava At. And she's a Tantawaitsu Nuwu, a Chimwebi from Chimwebi Valley. I'm a Chimwebi too, but out from west, we say Kampuats from the area called Kampu, which is a shared village site with Kauias out there in a place called Sahapta and San Timoteo Canyon. And then again, my brother here from Paula, and my niece here from Pachanga. She's a Luceño. In our language, we say Hutsi Pagawatsu, but they say Payum Kawicham. And then my daughter is here. She's Kampawats Nuwu too. And these brothers are from Torres Martinez, Kauia. And so make sure that's not mine. I'll start off, we'll sing Asik Huviav. And then after that, we'll sing Wichitzik Huviav. And Asik Huviav is a salt song. And it's like a 1,000-mile journey of our homelands. And it travels all the way up the Colorado River, crosses the Grand Canyon, comes back down through Nevada, through Vegas, which was a Chimwebi village site there, and it comes back down into California, and it cuts through a place called Tempisaguagatsich, which is the Providence Mountains, and then Kaibya Amat, which is the New York Mountains, and it cuts through there, and it goes all the way down, runs along the edge of Death Valley, cuts kind of down the 40, back towards the San Bernardino Mountains, and a place that we call Panûpünüwügai, which is having trees and snow, and then it cuts back up to 10 and goes all the way out back to the Colorado River again and goes back kind of by where she's from. And in the language, Siwavaat is actually a combination of 3 words. It's a combination of the word from Siwamp, which is hard pan, and then Avaat, which means many, and Avaan, which is mortars. So Siwavaat is a combination of that, and it means a place where there's many hard pan mortars. Today, many people just shorten it and just say Siwavats, But and then Tandawaitsu means she's a southerner Chimwebi. We're Turanu, which is again a desert Chimwebi, but we're all related. And this is our sister here. And then after that, we'll sing some Wichitsi Huviav, which is bird songs, and those are from the Kuya and specifically the Torres Martinez Kuya here. But without further ado, we'll sing some songs and thank you.
Panûpünüwügai.
Again, we'd just like to say thank you for having us, and it was an honor to be here to support our sister, Panûpünüwügai, so appreciate it. And we're going to sing one more, and we'll sing a Chimwebi song. And again, this is just to thank everyone for having us out here, and to thank Cara for inviting us out here, and big support of you, and we're so proud of you. So This last song is a lot of times referred to as a parting of the ways, but people come from far distances to travel for ceremonies and things like that. And as in our stories, it's a part where these two sisters, the Yalaku, these two sisters, they are saying goodbye, so they're crying and hugging, but they know that they'll see each other again, and then they'll always be together forever, really. So anyway, so.
Good evening, everyone. Oh, you weren't as excited. Good evening, everyone. Thank you. Okay, bring the energy back. That was beautiful. Thank you so much. And I think we're having a lot of firsts tonight here at the Phoenix Art Museum. I think that's the first time Bird's been sung here, and hopefully not the last. This is a really big deal. Cara, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling over the moon. Yeah. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you guys travel far to do that together. I hope that our lives continue to intertwine. It's really, as well as my two sons are here in the audience, and and so many friends and family, and I just have so much gratitude for everybody that came out this evening and to Phoenix Art Museum for the show. Steve, Roylyn, it's really nice to see you guys here, and it's amazing what you can do with your imagination, right? And it's such an honor to see the work that was made in seemingly small ways, to look back over a decade and a half and see it all come together the way it's come together upstairs. It's profound, it's surreal, it's a blessing, it's an honor. It's just so many things that I don't know if I have words for, but let it be a celebration, and thank you.
So we wanted to start by expressing our gratitude to the staff here at the Phoenix Art Museum. Thank you to Jeremy for your steadfast support of bringing this project here. The first time you all have done a solo show of a Native artist here at the Phoenix Art Museum, and not the last. And to Amelia Mixed Cabbages and Emmy. Her last name's very hard to pronounce, but you deserved your name being pronounced correctly. So thank you for all of the work that you've done to make the show here look really spectacular. And we also want to thank by name the staff who worked on putting the show in the galleries. So Holly Matasio, Charlotte Quinney, Claudia Lopez, Carrie Walters, Carolyn Strolick, Amanda Denmark Gessel, Ben Willis, Henry Bellavia, Cara Nazario, Summer Rain Young, Gary O'Donnell, Alan Placencia. Thank you for, oh, sorry, there's more. There's so many people. Your staff is way bigger than, and Nick Waldo, sorry. It's fine, I don't need it. I just had it out for that list of people. How are the kids doing? You know, we, on the way up from the reception, we ran into this mom and her two daughters, and they found out Cara was an artist, and they were very excited, and so we snuck them into the VIP reception. They were very, very important people. But in a lot of ways, Cara, your career started, and mine too. This is one of the things that we first, talked about and had in common is that kids are really important to us, and educating youth is important to us. We both wanted to become teachers. You wanted to make a textbook that taught Native history and American history, and you made a different book.
It's been very much a full circle to be here and to have the catalog. There's some personal essays in it, and then of course some beautiful contributed essays, but really when I left the reservation and ended up in a city, I understood pretty quickly that people didn't understand what it was to be Chemehuevi, and that they didn't have an understanding of tribes from all over the country. They didn't have an understanding of diversity, and really a lot of what I learned in school was racist and stereotypical and absurd, in some ways, and then just so little. And I knew that we had so much beauty in our communities, and I really wanted stories like my grandmother's to be told, that we were having lived experience, that we didn't go anywhere, that we were living a different life that was a product of, colonization, but that we're still here, and that we have this incredible beauty and resiliency in our communities. And it felt like the only path to do that when I was a young person first at college was to go through Native studies and cultural anthropology, and that maybe I could write a textbook. But by about 20, I realized I wasn't a writer, and wasn't enthralled with the way that cultural anthropology approached Native American studies. And at about the same time, I stumbled into a black and white film class, and it changed my life. And I had a really special instructor that emphasized content over technical ability. I had never picked up a camera before I was 21, just point and shoots and things like that. And he taught me to use this medium in a way to tell stories, that I could tell what was in my heart, or what was in my dreams, or what I experienced through this particular art form. And he made me feel like I was good at it. And really from there, I never stopped making photographs. It was what you see upstairs and in the book. It comes from a place of joy. It comes from maybe a spiritual place of something that I feel comfort when I'm doing, when I'm making. The title of the show is Panûpünüwügai, And when we were talking about it with our language speakers back home, this idea of Panûpünüwügai, this illumination, maybe like the light coming over the mountains before the sun comes up, like a mysterious source of light, and Nuwugai to give that light spirit. It wasn't just about photography, it was about how when we make art, we bring people together, and how there's a spirit in every single one of those moments where we've come together, where we're centered around imagination and creativity and ideas and, you know, what's in here. And that's informed my work. But what was not expected was that I would actually end up being able to teach and travel, and that, you know, the rest of my peers really enjoy learning through art, and that you can learn and articulate so many difficult subjects that you can't do with words through art, and that we can see ourselves differently, and that we can approach from a place of imagination and from dreams to relate who we are as human beings. And really, so much of the art upstairs is about being human beings. It's to give humanity to our individuals and to our communities and to all the people that I've gotten to cross paths with since I've been away from home.
I think you brought up shared humanity, and I think that's something that, you know, we've always lacked, but I think in this moment it feels really palpable for a lot of us that we aren't recognizing one another as human, as deserving of dignity and respect, and as deserving of representation in institutions like this. And, you know, your work, and we've talked about this before, you know, generosity is a big part of both of our practice. And you know, one of the things I say is as an Osage person, as a, you know, someone who wants to indigenize museums, wants to bring our community's work, the brilliance and knowledge and stories and creativity of our people to share with those who may not be familiar with it, but also centering our communities within that practice. It doesn't mean that other people can't come in and enjoy. It's not about kind of reversing the status quo and making those who have always felt comfortable in places like this feel suddenly uncomfortable. And I think that that's what your work does. There's such a generosity and an accessibility to your work that, you know, even if have nothing, you know, in common on surface level with the people that you're seeing in the images, people always find a way to connect to your work. It's, I think, one of your superpowers. Can you talk about how you try to communicate both to community but also to the broader world through this kind of visual storytelling, and, you know, kind of some of the strategies you use to make those connections for people to recognize our shared humanity?
Well, I think that if I go back to the beginning of the body of work that's upstairs, that this was coming to the medium of photography as an outsider, and coming to Native American art with a medium that was kind of outside of the box and the categories of what we have or what we expect when we think about Native art. And I was making for community. Really, so much of the work is built from a place of showing it at the Santa Fe Indian Market, as well as the Herd Market here in Phoenix. And it was a little bit at a time, but every single one of those photographs is intimate And that was really the guiding compass, was that it's friends and it's family, and it's made to be alongside some of the greatest artists in the world that I've looked up to since I started. It was really as big as it got. In 2003 was the first time I got to participate in Santa Fe Indian Market, and it was like Indian art heaven. It was so many people that I looked up to, and it was like a ceremony of artists that traveled from all over Turtle Island to come and show work from back home. It was traditional and went back a really long time, and then it was also very contemporary. And I thought, you know, this is the community that I want to be a part of. And they liked my wild photography. And so I found a place there, and I had children, and I moved back home, and I took a pause, and then I came back to it. In about 2012, sometimes we do that as moms, we take long breaks. And when I came back to it, I think it was a pretty liberated time in my life. And when I say that, I mean I had my heart broken and had gone through a really dark time, and I had nothing to lose. And I had no expectations of myself other than to make and to show up to these 2 shows throughout the year with some incredible pieces that I was proud to show my community. Some of that was funny, right? Because we like to, you know, humor is medicine, so you'll see a lot of laughter and joy in the pieces. But I think to your question, we know what's appropriate and what's inappropriate in cross-cultural settings. I think that that's one part of it. And then I think the other part of it is that when we're telling stories of self-representation, we have a different take on what's interesting to us. And so not only what are we allowed to say outside of community, but what is interesting, what's in our hearts and in our experience that would be good for us to see in artwork, but also good for people from outside of community to learn. And I think that the stories are very human. I think it's important for people outside of our culture to understand that we're incredible human beings, and spiritual and strong and beautiful. And so all of those things come through in my pieces. And for the young people in community, it's so important for us to be able to see artwork that we kind of know instantly must be made by a native, right? Because of the nuance, because of the subject matter. You know, you can't explain everything, but I know that in the pieces, my community gets it. You know, there's a piece from Alaska up there, and I was teaching her class yesterday, and they said, you know, can you tell me why you have pilot bread in the photograph? And because it's a nod to your community. It's only something that you would see in the art that you would understand. And I think that, like, keeping Native audience first, everybody just kind of benefits from that. And I don't have more words than that to explain, but you know, garner an authenticity of conversation that even if you don't get it, that's okay.
Well, and I think we saw a display of that this evening with the, you know, the generosity of the performance and making people feel welcome. And, you know, when you come into our communities, the rules are always people need to be fed and they need to be cared for. And, you know, that in order to be comfortable, in order to, you know, kind of share in conversation and community. And so that's kind of the feeling that your art brings to people, is there's, it kind of breaks those barriers and enables people to engage in a way that can be done on their own terms, and through the myriad experiences of the people you work with. So you've worked with your community, but you also have worked with, you know, Native communities from all over what's now the United States. And Can you talk a little bit about kind of the diversity of stories that you're telling and why it's important to you to, kind of work with communities that you haven't worked with before?
Well, I think about art as, like, I think one of the things that brings so much joy and purpose is that it's a lifetime of learning. Always the student, never the master. I've been working in the medium since 1998, and so that's almost 30 years. And I think the craft of storytelling is important, to have started out in film, to have understood the history of the medium, to have brought it through like digital and that, crossover that happened, and then always, like a full circle, like back to analog. Part of that journey is, sometimes we leave the places that we're from and we end up in other metropolitans, and there's a lot of people that are not from Santa Fe, in Santa Fe, on the traditional lands of Pueblo people because of the Institute of American Indian Arts. And there's not a lot of, actually I think it's the only formal art training for Native Americans from across Turtle Island to attend. And so what happens when I get there in 1999 is that it's brought together people from isolated communities that are so different, but also so much the same, and that we find overlap and we find stories of commonality. There's like a through line, whether you're from Northern California or Hawaii, from Southern California, we have similar narratives that we've experienced in our communities, both good and hard and difficult. And I think it's wanting to continue to work with friends and family. So I think that there's a great amount of autobiography in the work, is that I'm there in an intertribal community, and that people become a part of my life. And so we're able to tell stories together, and there's a lot of collaboration. It brings joy. And I would also say that it's the love of the storytelling in the medium in order to, want to continue to work with more and more communities. When I started out, it was not like that. I was like very awkward, like very shy, curious about my peers around me in tribal college, and we work together. I tend to really work with people that I'm close to. Later on, I would understand that that helps it stay really true to story, that we're like there throughout the storytelling every step of the way, and that we're connecting on a very deep level. And then I would say, on the other side of it, it's such a blessing to have come so far as an artist, that I'm able to tell these stories in a way that we've never been able to see ourselves, right? In photography. So when you have a Native woman that has learned a very technical skill, all of a sudden taking, a collaborative approach to storytelling, that's going to look very different than ethnographic photography, from photography from outside of the culture. And so I think of it like, if there's a moment where I can be in service to community, it brings me joy. And if I can be the one to help make a beautiful photographic story, I think it's a mutual joy with people that I work with.
One of the things that we said we might talk about is how long we've been working on this.
Yeah.
It's been like 6 years to get to this moment. And, we've talked about the importance of, kind of centering Indigenous ways of knowing and being in our practice, but also that there's something that our communities can teach the mainstream art world. And one of them might be slowing down and not having this sense of urgency kind of drive the production of work, the pace, the, collaboration and meaningful work takes time and takes resources that institutions aren't always willing to provide. But, I think through this show, the two of us working together, and I should say a shout out and a big thank you to the director of the Hood Museum of Art, John Stomberg, who isn't able to be with us this evening, who has really put a lot of faith in us to do this big of a project, and knew that 6 years down the road it was going to be successful. I don't know that there's a question there, but do you want to reflect on kind of the last 6 years and getting to this moment and continuing to work and to do all of your other jobs and being mom and while still knowing that it was important for this project to be realized and for it to travel throughout the country?
The work upstairs, I think, starts in about 2012, and it comes up. There's 2 pieces that are just very, very recent. So that's really special. That's one timeline. Like I said, made a little bit at a time. So it's amazing to look back at 60 pieces that was made, just like ants' work is what it feels. Jami and I had the opportunity to meet through, family, the way that happens in community. And she had taken on this very prestigious job at the Hood Museum. And she had stepped into her role as a cultural person, as a curator there that has an ongoing history of collecting living Native artists' work, and had brought me into a symposium, and they had begun acquiring my work even before you got there. And so there was this kind of serendipitous connection, I think, that existed. But in 2022, when Jami had the honor of working with a man like John Stomberg that gave her power and control, I think that that's where a part of magic happens, is because a lot of times young Native women are not given power and control. And Jami harnessed that, and she came in 2022 and said, "Would you like to do your first major solo show at the museum?" And I just cried, and she asked me, "Why are you crying?" And I was like, because 43-year-old women don't get asked to have solo shows at major American museums. Yes, I would love to. And when I look around to my community, like I said, I have such respect for Native art, but we've really experienced quite a renaissance in the past decade. And we've always been making, but this experience that I've gotten to witness in the American art landscape has been such an honor. Jami she always says I can't say both bossy and Osage. She says I can just say Osage because it means,
it's redundant if you say bossy Osage.
She always had the strength to ask for what we needed to make the show better. Whether that was more time with the catalog or the most beautiful framing, time for me to feel comfortable with it, because this is beyond what I think my intentions ever were. And I think that that was an important building of trust is, you know, all of a sudden this work is going to be on the world stage, and I wasn't sure if that was the intention. But I think with your incredible intellect and intelligence and cultural sensitivity, we were really able to take our time to make it right. And I just have so much respect for Phoenix Art Museum to then, you know, give us this power and control, you know. It doesn't happen to 49-year-old women either, so it's a big deal.
And I think we started by talking about kids, and you know, one final thought I'll share with you all is a conversation we have often when we go. You know, the Native art world has grown so much in the last 10 years, and really in the last 5. That you know, there's good friends of ours and people who worked on this project who couldn't be here this week because they're at Freeze in LA doing amazing things. Next week, sadly, I can't stay where it's warm here for Herd Market, but those of you who are here should all go over to the Herd next week. For Herd Market, there's, you know, some of the most amazing artists will be there showing their work, and you get to meet with them and interact with them and engage and hear their stories and support the work of living artists if you're able to do so. I can't be there because I'm going to the Whitney, where there's 3 Native women artists who have work in the Whitney Biennial that's debuting. There's so much happening that on the one hand, it's sad that we can't do it all, but on the other hand, it's incredible that we can't do it all. And, you know, we've talked about, can you imagine if when we were young, we had these opportunities? And so I'm just really excited to see, you know, young people from the Phoenix area and from the urban Native community to come in and to see themselves in a place like this, and for other people to see them and to see our communities, but also to, you know, for them to be exposed to the other incredible artists from around the world throughout time whose work is in this collection. And I'm really grateful that I have a lifelong friend and sister who's become, you know, my family through this project. And this isn't the last you'll see of us. Yeah.
Just want to say thank you, and I hope that you come back to experience the exhibit over and over and find new things. Sometimes openings are not the easiest place to look at art. I hope they bring you joy. I hope you see the love in the work. And yes, you definitely haven't seen the last of us. June 5th, put June 5th on your calendar. It's the first Friday that celebrates this exhibit here at the Phoenix Art Museum. From what I understand, hundreds of people come out. We'll fill the courtyard. We'll bring more people from community to dance. Thank you, Steve, for dancing with us. Yeah. And anyways, I'll see you upstairs.